discussing. Our subject matter today is vital to our community. I think we all know that. I work for OG&E. Carly just attended one of our economic development conferences. One of the biggest things in economic development is keeping our community strong and our businesses strong, the existing ones, in addition to bringing in new business. But one of the biggest things we do is keeping our community strong with development and quality of life. And I think that's a lot of what today alludes to. So that's as much as I'm going to say regarding that. Carly, thank you very much.
Well, first off, I'd just like to say thank you to Amy and Peters and Redlands Community College for allowing us to be here today and have our wonderful meeting. And I wanted to go ahead and introduce our presenters for today. We have Justin Martin, who is on our school board, and he is also a committee member for our Vote Yes for El Reno Children. We also have Roger Reinhardt, who is a local attorney here in El Reno, and he is our treasurer for our El Reno committee for Vote Yes for Children. And so, without further ado, Roger, please come.
I have a display of piece of technology. I brought my thing.
And I think I do want to introduce people. Roger's going to start off as Wayne Renault, our architect with EBJ, Jordan Smith with Jordan L. Smith, Stephen L. Smith, our bond people, and then Chris Cowens, which is with Siemens Wilbur, our construction management firm. So I'll turn it over to Roger.
Well, I'm first to tell you, I'm really excited about this bond project. I'm excited about what it brings to El Reno and the future that it holds for our community and for our students. Many of our students, as you all know, have been attending schools which were designed in the early part of the last century. Many of them without the modern amenities and technology that are expected and frankly deserved by Oklahoma students in the 21st century. When school started this August, you all remember we were having historical high temperatures, 112 degrees, 100 degrees in that range. Well, a lot of our preschool, kindergarten, and elementary school kids were attending schools where the cafeterias aren't even air conditioned, where they couldn't play outside because it was too hot, they couldn't play in the gym because it was too hot. We deserve better than that. Our community deserves better, and our kids deserve better. The junior high and high school students are in classrooms where I attended in the 1960s and 1970s, and actually where my dad attended in the 1930s and 1940s. They were fine buildings, and they have been upgraded, but we still deserve better. Under the plans proposed, the historic El Reno High School building and the junior high buildings will be improved and preserved for use for the lower grades. But our young adults attending 9th through 12th grades will have a modern, up-to-date, campus-style facility which will give them the launching pad they deserve into further education and career. This is just my opinion, but I think that's where the money is a good place to spend the money. Because we're sending these young adults out into a world that's full of technology, full of things that didn't exist 10 years ago, much less 100 years ago or 80 years ago when a lot of our facilities were built. The fact that El Reno is building new classrooms in schools is good for a local budget, the school system, because it's also taking classrooms and schools offline and replacing them with more efficient buildings, more efficient systems. I'm sure these guys will address that. I think we all can agree that some of our current schools and classrooms are beyond their life expectancy, and they cost more to operate than what in modern, efficient schools. In reality, it appears to me that bringing new schools will be less demand on the system as far as annual operating costs are concerned, which is really good. We get a lot of bang for our buck, a lot of return on the investment. Most of you know I've been a big supporter for things that make El Reno unique. I've been a big supporter of the Main Street program, Preservation El Reno, things like that. The trolley, I was on that committee. I still am a supporter of those things. And I'm still a supporter of the high school. I think it's a fantastic building, which has historically been the heart of some of our community. So that's why I think this is a good program. It doesn't take the high school offline. It uses it for other purposes. In this instance, just the lower grade, so that they'll still get the experience of being in that school, which has been kept up to date as much as money will allow. But it won't be shelved. There's been some discussion around town that the high school would be shelved or maybe torn down. My secretary, who lives in Yukon, heard some ladies talk to me at lunch one day, said, well, they've been wanting to tear down that high school for years, they're finally going to get their way. That's simply not the case. To me, this ensures the livelihood of the high school building, but just using it for another purpose. So I'm enthusiastic about that. I do serve on the board of the Oklahoma Historical Society, and I often get to brag about El Reno. Just last week, I bragged about the Center Theater and what we've done down there. I'd like nothing more than to brag about how our historic National Register High School is still in place, educating students, but in a different purpose than originally designed. I'm proud of our history in El Reno, but I am enthusiastic about our future. And I think this presentation we're going to see today will really help with that, help with our future. I believe that bond passage continues the efforts to improve the overall quality of life for all El Reno residents. That means even people without kids in the system, because new facilities will be in place where we can have new programs, new arts programs, new cultural programs, things like that. The things that are the lifeblood of the community and that we all look to. I've had the opportunity over the last probably a decade and a half to be involved in some of the larger real estate and economic development projects in Yukon, starting with the hospital and all the developments on the west side of Garth Brooks Boulevard. That's been so exciting to watch that happen and to see what's happened in Yukon with that, how their quality of life has improved, how their tax base has improved. I've also represented some of the residential developers who put huge home additions right next to where the new high school is coming in. So I've seen that at least in that community it wasn't an impediment to development. Each of those projects represented an investment in the future of Yukon, which has paid dividends to the residents and their school-aged children. Now, I'm going to tell you, El Reno residents have the same opportunity. We're not competing with Yukon and Mustang. We're not comparing, although some of that is going to come by nature just because of the close proximity. But we are investing in our education and in our quality of life with this program. I believe El Reno is a first-rate city. I think all of you do too. That's why we're here. I think our kids and our future deserve first-rate facilities. And I believe in our future. So that's why I'm involved in this. I do want to mention too, our committee is registered as we're required to do by law. We have all the paperwork on file with the school board system. So if anybody has any questions about that or questions for me, I'd be happy to visit with you or talk to you.
Tony, I was going to ask Tony Rivera to come up next and kind of go over some economic development before we get into the bond plans. Mr. Tony Rivera.
I believe most of you will recall when we were trying to pass the capital improvement program. And we worked so hard to get us many people involved in developing quality of life facilities that we could enjoy. And not only us, but that our visitors and the people that would come to El Reno could enjoy as well. And while we were working through that process, and I made several presentations at several different places, one of the first things that was brought out is the fact that we were going to do something about our parks, our recreational facilities, but a lot of people kept saying, what about our schools? That came up over and over again. And my answer became standard, which was, look, as a city manager, and involved in the process that we are in regards to this capital improvements program, there's a lot I can do about recreational facilities and parks and lakes and things of that nature. But there's not a lot we can do about the school. That's something that you as citizens are going to have to step up and pull yourself up by the bootstraps and make it happen. I never envisioned that the process would be as successful as it's been in regards to the capital improvements program. We had 3 very difficult questions. And by the way, I think we forgot, I was told many times, because I was brand new, Steve, I was just here, maybe less than a year in El Reno. First time ever in this part of the state. I'm from Mobile, Oklahoma, back in the woods. But I was told again, Tony, this doesn't have a chance. I said, well, why not? Well, this is El Reno. You don't have a chance. You may be lucky to get the first question passed, which was extending and assisting sales tax. But you will never get the second question, adding sales tax, passed, and you will certainly never be successful in changing the lodging tax to a percentage rate. It's just not going to happen. But you know what? we fought it. We fought it and we battled and we got through it. We got Matt White, who was running for mayor at that time, to support it. And with this help, and with the help of over 150 people that have participated in the committees in formulating the capital improvements program, it passed all 3 questions by over 82%. That sent me a message that it wasn't just us, it wasn't just me, it wasn't just the mayor, it wasn't just the 150 people that wanted to see El Reno make a change in the way we were headed. It was all the citizens in the community that wanted that change. Now we have an opportunity to put the crown on top of this kingdom that we have built, and that is to address the school facility issues. Trust me, I think I'm going to be redundant, but it's vitally important for economic development. Don't take my word for it. Let me challenge you. Go like I have and speak to the leaders at Access Trailer or at any of our industries. Go speak to as I have, to the employees at FCI and talk to them on an individual basis. And ask them why only 40% of the FCI employees live in El Reno and why less than 17% of the employees that work at Access Trailer live in El Reno. Ask them. Ask them. Because the answer, I believe, will cause you to gear yourself up and get this fund this way. Because that is the thing that they're going to mention first, I promise you. The school system. Please support this. It's very vitally important for us. I'm looking forward to having that new school for my kids. See, I have selfish reasons too. I'm raising my 2 grandkids, a 4-year-old and a 2-year-old. And I'm looking forward